something that I admire about you, Larry, and it's something that I've been trying to do more as a person, is when I don't know something about, or I don't know everything about a certain topic, or I'm not very well versed in a certain topic, I'll try to admit that in a clear tone. Like I'll be like, I don't know enough about this to have like an opinion about it, or I don't have enough about this to argue against you or with you, but I feel like this. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that's important because so many people online these days will state their opinions as fact without having any sort of corroborating evidence or having any sort of backup behind it, just because that's how people have been trained to do it. It's sort of like people have honed in where if you make a mistake in any sort of thing, like you misquote a fact or you misappropriate something, then your argument just like falls apart. You're dead. You're done. Um, and I think that just admitting that you don't have all the answers, because nobody does. Everyone uses the internet constantly to look up everything. It's like if you're having an argument with something online, their fingers are glued to Google. They're constantly searching for every single stat, every single argument, every single. They're looking up and seeing if that argument's been made before and how it was defeated. It's just it's a mess. So taking that first step and saying like, hey, I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
is something that I've been trying to do a lot more recently.
Yeah. You probably learn more that way. Honestly, it allows you to sit back and maybe find something that they might be saying of worth.
It's also an interesting the way of getting someone to sort of not intentionally but argue against themselves, right? Like the idea is if you don't know enough about there's an adage, if you don't know enough about something to explain it simply, then you don't know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I do is to Ben's point is when someone comes to me and starts talking to me about something that I do not know, I actually rely on them for like thoughts or information or whatever. So I'll ask them questions to get them to explain it to me. And sometimes halfway through they're like, "You know what? I don't know." And then we're in the
Mm-hmm.
same boat, right? And then we can have we're like an interesting
Yeah.
conversation based.
Yeah.
Another thing in that line that reminds me of is there's this interesting thing that I picked up. I forget from who at Riot, but it's like if you take something that someone's saying, it's like a you could make a straw man of their argument, which is to
Mhm.
create a weaker version of it and tear it down. But the opposite of that is a way more interesting thing where you Iron Man their
Oh,
argument, where you
interesting.
say like you try to make the most compelling argument for them, like and this can be you can do that wrong, right? Where you can kind of like put patronizing and be like, well,
Yeah.
if you were smart, you'd frame it this way, right? You don't do that, but what you do is you go, oh, I get so the argument is this, and you lay it out in as clear a way as you can, if you're able to, right? Um, and it's sort of the same thing as I was saying earlier, is
Mhm.
like restate people what people are saying and to try to get at it, but I think it's a mentality difference, right? Where instead of trying to win an argument, you're trying to come to the strongest possible case for the side that's for the thing that's being communicated to you. Sometimes you'll find that the person goes, actually, yeah, that's basically what I believe, or sometimes they'll go, no, it's different in this way, and then you learn something.
Mm.
um yeah, boy, I don't this is a tangent, but I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm having a good time.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's the point of
That's
this show.
yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
questions going, and then the tangents are the real meat of the conversation.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Tangenting
of the
back. Oh no,
Iron.
sorry, go ahead, Lee.
Oh, sorry. No, I was like, I've never heard of the Iron Man, like Iron
Iron
Manning
Man.
No, that
something.
was new to me too.
I'm like, that's interesting. Like, now I'm thinking about it. Okay.
It's one way that you can use it actually, and I found this to be persuasive with like stakeholders at Riot, like senior people.
Mm.
I will say I'll do this format. I'll say, now a lot of people would argue that, and then I insert the Iron Man, and I make the strongest possible case for the thing that I don't want to do, right? And it's genuine, right? I
Yeah.
go, a lot of people would argue that this. When you do that, now everyone's listening to you because they go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then I go, here's the rest of the format. I go, but in my opinion, we should do, instead of X, Y for these reasons, right? And I find that it makes you a more credible person because what it does is it shows that you've done rigorous thinking instead of
Mm.
just that you're making a biased case for like whatever it is you want to, move forward on. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so just show
That's an
the Iron
excellent
Man.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you can see both sides of an argument and explain them well, then you have a much better understanding on why the argument's